Okay, ready? Let's go. Okie dokie. Here we are. Deja vu all over again. Middle of this year. Um, I don't know what year it was, 1960s, I guess. Roger Maris and Mickey Mantle were chasing Babe Ruth's home run record of 60 home runs in a season. And I guess in one of the games, I don't remember the date or the detail, you know what I'm talking about? They hit Roger Maris and Mickey Mantle, I don't know who was first, hit back-to-back home runs, each of them independently trying to surpass Babe Ruth's home record. And apparently Yogi Berra, who was known for his quips, his witty aphorisms, remarked, "It's like deja vu all over again." So that's the title of this year for today. And we're reading Parshas Behaalosecha, and every year we read the Parsha, it's a new Parsha, and there's new details and so forth. And here, one over here, and then we can. So make more. So every year we read the same parsha, but it's a new parsha. Obviously, you should read it. It's new excitement. It's new details. It's new meaning. It's new depth, so forth. And also Pesach Sheni. One of the main topics of this week's parsha, Behaalosecha, is Pesach Sheni, which is old news because we had Pesach Sheni already. That was just over a month ago. We had Pesach Sheni, we had Pesach Rishon, but it's in the parsha. And if it's in the parsha, then it has relevance for us, it has meaning for us. And hopefully tonight, I hope we're going to uncover some of the meaning and some of the relevance behind that. I have a couple books for show and tell, you know, that kind of thing. So here we have our source sheets, deja vu all over again. Start with the pasuk Parshas Behaalosecha. I think I labeled it wrong, actually. I wrote 9:11, chapter 9, verse 11. But actually, the first pasuk starts earlier. First pasuk starts earlier. I'll just read it from here. I have it. It talks about the Jewish people bringing the korban Pesach. Then in verse 6, it says, "Vayhi noshim asher hayu tameim lenefesh adam." There were men who had become ritually defiled, ritually impure, because of contact with a corpse. Anybody know what they were doing?
Oh, were they burying somebody?
Barduman, no. Right.
It was after the.
Yeah.
Either they were taking care of Yosef's bones,
Yeah.
or another Navi.
Yeah. Yeah. Either they were taking care of Yosef's bones, corpse, dead body, so that would make them Tameh, or Nadav and Avihu, who had died when they went without an invitation in the wrong time, at the wrong place, into the Beis Hamikdash. Brought an Eish Zorah. Huh?
Right, when is this? This happens on what date? This is on the Zion Nisan?
No.
Not Rosh Chodesh, it's Rosh Chodesh Nisan, right?
Well,
because that's when the Navi passed away.
Right. This is the previous pasuk, which I didn't read. But Yasos Pesach Barishan Ba'arba Asar Yom L'Chodesh Ben Harbaim.
It's right on the 14th.
Correct, of Nisan, the following year.
No, but that's when they're coming to complain?
Correct. So this is Erev Pesach, this story is happening. And the Torah tells us, there are people that were tamei. They were ritually tamei, they were defiled. Why were they defiled? Nir mentions two different opinions in Chazal, either because they were carrying Yosef's bones, tamei, or they were dealing with Nadav and Avihu who had died and they schlepped them out. Either way, it's the same bottom line, right? Either way, they're tamei. And therefore, since they were tamei, Pesach bayom hahu. Important words, by the way. Bayom hahu. I didn't quote this on the source sheet. These are important words. They couldn't bring the korban Pesach when bayom hahu, on that day. What other day would they bring it on? It's Erev Pesach. When else do you bring the korban Pesach? Yud Daled Nisan, right? Erev Pesach. What does the Torah mean? They couldn't bring the korban Pesach on that day. What? No, yesterday, the day before, Rosh Chodesh Nisan, Chanukah time. Well, what do you mean they couldn't bring it on that day? So seemingly extra words in the pasuk. So what did they do? So they said, "Listen, Moshe, Aaron, we need to talk. We need to talk." And they said, Vayoimru ha'anoshim ha'hemai love. And these men said to Moshe, Anachnu tmeim lenefesh adam. You hear the facts? We are tummy. We are tummy because we touched a corpse. So what are they not allowed to do?
Bring the korban.
Bring the korban pesach. Why are they not allowed to do it?
Tummy.
Because they're tummy. Do they know this fact?
Yeah, obviously.
Obviously, they said it. Keep that in mind.
Was there already a paraduma?
Let's leave this discussion aside. We're going to talk about it. We're not. I don't want to get into paraduma, but
They can't just go to the mikvah, right?
1 second. We're going to talk about that.
Okay.
Lama nigara. Why should we lose out? Why should we lose out and not to be able to bring the korban pesach at the appointed time? Remember, what day is it today in the story? Erev Pesach, Yud Daled Nisan. When do you bring the korban pesach? Yud Daled Nisan. Why can't they bring it? Because they're telling me. Do they know this?
Yeah.
I'm sorry for too much repetition, right? Do they know this? Yes. How do I know that they know it? Because they said it. They said the very reason. So what are they asking? Okay. So what happens? Well, we know the story. Vayomer Aleim Moshe. Moshe says, "Imdu ve'eshma." I don't know. Stay right there. I'll be right back. I'll be right back. Oh, thank you. Because I was in take a chair. I'll be right back. Just 1 minute, right? So I'll go ask the good Lord. So Moshe, Hashem says to Moshe, and Moshe says, and Hashem tells the Moshe to instruct the people. Listen, if there is a person, if there's a person who's tame and he adds more, or they're far or they're distant, what does the distance have to do with anything? But the Korban Pesach is unique in numerous ways, one of which is that you can only bring it b'chabura, in a group. So if you're on the road somewhere, it's like, if let's say you miss mincha with a minion, right? Because you're stuck in traffic somewhere. What do? You pull over and you dive on the side of the road. Okay, not ideal, but that's what you do. Korban Pesach? No. Korban Pesach is only b'chabura, it's only in the group. It has to be appointed in advance, it has to be listed, you have to be on the guest list in advance, it's a whole thing. Which, by the way, Bechlal is a question by the Seder. We say, Helach ma'anya, holach ma'anya, whatever you say. Kol ditzrich, how does it go? Kol ditzrich yesev v'yechol, kol ditzrich yesev v'yifsach. All who are needy partake of the Korban Pesach. That's not allowed. You're only allowed to partake of the Korban Pesach if you were listed in advance. Okay, we'll think about that for next Pesach. Okay, this is the story, right? This is the story of Korban Pesach. Everybody with me? Should we chazer it again? No, don't chazer it again, right?
It's a lot of deja vu.
It's a lot of deja vu all over again. Deja vu all over again. Let's take a look in the Heilige Or HaChaim. The Or HaChaim was born in Morocco, 1696, and he passed away in Yerushalayim in 1743. He's buried on Har HaZeisim, on the Mount of Olives. You know who the Or HaChaim's Talmud was? The Chidah. The Chidah had a good Rebbe. His Rebbe was the Or HaChaim. If your Rebbe is the Or HaChaim, you're doing pretty well. I saw this week handwriting of the Chidah, an actual handwritten segula by the Chidah. I saw it. It was amazing. I wanted to take it, but that would be stealing, so I didn't do it. Okay, let's take a look at the Or HaChaim. Lama nigara. Why should we lose out? These are the famous words of the Yidden that were Tomei. They say, Lama nigara, why should we lose out? Again, why are they losing out? Tomei. They know it. Okay. Tzorich ladas tainas ha'anoshim b'maimer lama nigara. Says the Or HaChaim, what in the world are they even asking? Why should we lose out? What kind of question is that? Says the Or HaChaim, like taimam b'fiyam. They said the reason. They themselves said it. The reason why. Time of Befim, Yanu Anachtu Tmeim. They said, Anachtu Tmeim. So, what are you asking? I should change halacha. It's like you go to a rabbi and you say, can I do such and such? No, it's not allowed. It's against Shulchan Aruch. Please, could you just make an exception? Could you just change the... Well, what are they asking? They're asking to change the halacha? You can't change... If there's a heter, there's a heter. If there's a chumrah, whatever it is, but you can't change the halacha. So the facts are, if you're tummy, you can't bring the korban pesach. They come along and they say, listen, we're tummy, could you just change it for us? Could you make an exception? What are they asking? V'ulai says the Or HaChaim, maybe kilatzad shenitmo b'reshitusa yisborech.
What is the background story? Let's gotta look at the context here. Why did they become tamei? Stam, they made a decision. They went touching corpses. No, it was Bereshusha Yisbarach, was Hashem's permission, or if it was not the Naviu, by the way. Why did they become tamei to Naviu, according to that opinion?
They had to.
They had to. Why did they have to?
You have to take him out.
Kavod, man.
If there's a
Moshe said.
pasuk that said,
Oh, it's not just you have to take them out. It's Moshe told them to go do it. Here, he says, "You go do it." Now I'm punished for this. I'm punished because I listened to the Rebbe of the generation. I'm punished because I listened to Moshe Rabbeinu. I just did what he told me to do. That's not fair, right? Whether according to the opinion that says that they were Tmei Meis mitzvah, which is that they went and got Nadav and Avihu, right? Why? Because Moshe told them to. Or whether Bein Laman Da'amar Nosi Aron Shel Yosef, or the other opinion that says they were carrying the Aron of Yosef. Either way, says the Archaim. They thought he thought that Hashem would say, no. Because I told you to do it, you're not really tamei. This is taki an exception. You are basically tahor, you're pure. And therefore, and just like Hashem tells us, the very same Hashem says that if everybody is tamei, the whole tzibur is tamei, then guess what? You could bring the Korban Pesach. So, same thing now. Meaning, Tuma doesn't automatically rule out Korban Pesach. And the proof is, you yourself, Hashem, have made exceptions to that rule. Such as if the entire tzibur is tamei, you allow it. Good, so too here. You told us to become tamei. It's your fault, Hashem, basically. It's your fault. So let us do it. That was what they were asking. Why should we lose out? We listened to you. We did what you wanted us to do. And for that, we're losing.
But then
one second, let's finish the sentence. Let the Archaim speak for a second. Also mitzvah. Listen to the way he phrases it. We did a mitzvah, and I'm going to lose for doing a mitzvah. When do you lose for doing a mitzvah? You don't lose for a mitzvah. So all we did was do exactly what you, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, wanted us to do. Again, whether it's Nadav Avihu, whether it's Aron of Yosef, either way. And for that, we're losing the Korban Pesach. Yeah, you have a question or comment on that?
no, yeah, I was just thinking, like, why are they viewing it as a loser? You know, it's almost like someone saying, you asked me to be Misameach Chasam Makala, and because of that I couldn't give tzedakah in Ma'ariv and Shul. Like, why are they viewing it as a losing, as opposed to this is an opportunity that other people didn't have, and you gave me the opportunity. Not everybody took the Atzmas Yosef. Not everybody. Like, why are they viewing it through the lens of I lost out, as opposed to I was one of the few people that had the opportunity to gain this?
Anyone have any comments on that?
I can kind of see it in terms of the bones, the Yosef bone. In terms of taking that of Navihu out of the space, that doesn't mean the same way. Doesn't seem like that doesn't seem like any kind of privilege or or perk.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mike, you want to say something?
yeah, maybe they weren't saying why are we losing out on the mitzvah. It could have been more, why are we losing out connecting to you, Hashem, just like the rest of the Israel are connecting to you. It doesn't have to be that.
Everyone else is bringing a Korban Pesach, and we're supposed to stand on the side?
Yeah.
How's that fair? Also, that like Ma'ariv, you didn't give tzedakah by Ma'ariv, so give tzedakah after Ma'ariv. Give tzedakah later. Here, once the day is over, you missed Korban Pesach.
Right, but you get it again next year.
Well, they didn't know that at the time. I'm voting next year.
Yeah.
Next year. Just today.
Right.
I don't care about next year. I want to bring the Korban Pesach today. Don't bring it next year. What? I want to bring it right now. You're not letting me. And the reason you're not letting me do it like every other normal human being around me is because I did what you wanted me to do. How does that make sense? That's the Orach Chaim. And look at this. Or you're Tzaloymar, and Patrick would come to the question you asked about, could they just go to mikvah? Or you're Tzaloymar, sheyasu lepesach tashlumin kechagiga, sheyesh tashlumin koshiv, or let us give a tashlumin. Other korbanos, if you missed the korban on the original day, you can bring it. When do you bring it? The next day, or the day after that. So it's Yud Daled Nisan, Erev Pesach. So you can't bring the korban Pesach. So let us bring it tomorrow. Either Tommy will come to that. Who maimer b'moyadot. Shahu moyad Pesach. Let us bring it. The positive they say in the positive b'moyadot in the appointed time, which is the whole Pesach. And look at the Sforno, source number 3, Sforno Italian, born sometime around 1470, died sometime around 1550. Anachnu Tmeim Lenevish Adam Lamani Gora. Mitzvah, since the reason we became defiled, the reason we became tummy was Ledvar Mitzvah, a mitzvah that you Hashem told us to do. Sforno says very similar to the Orach Chaim, just in boom, a succinct sentence. Shema, straight to the point. Mitzvah goyreres aveira.
Right. What are they?
Meaning they don't get to do the Korban Pesach. Yeah, well, what's the chiyuv of a person that, okay, whatever, let's leave that aside. It's not an aveira, but it's an aveira. The person didn't bring the Korban Pesach.
But he was
You're supposed to bring it, and you.
He was talking for the mitzvah.
Right, if you're doing a mitzvah,
Right.
you're for a mitzvah.
Say you're a doctor and you say
They're not really pot. This is no. I don't think that's the pshat. I don't think it's that they're potter from Korban Pesach. It's they're not allowed to bring the Korban Pesach.
Well, the Korban Pesach would not be applicable to them.
Not because they're potter. Potter means you're exempt.
They nullified
They
their
should be.
stuff.
Right, they're exempt. They're exempt from Korban Pesach because
No.
they did a mitzvah that won't allow them to.
No, it's what Yaakov said.
Exempt would apply, you don't have to make it up.
They didn't have to make it up.
Yaakov said it's not that they're exempt. Yaakov said it's that they're not allowed to do it. That's not the same thing as being exempt. Exempt means they don't have to do it.
Why don't they say they don't?
The case here wasn't that they don't have to do it,
Right.
they're not allowed to do
If
it.
they're not carrying or doing what they did, then they'd still be doing it. They're not.
And they would be
It's
obligated
not
to
a
do it.
right.
Okay. Now, Patrick, I'm holding your question, so we're going to come to your question right now, okay? Source number 4, the Gemara Pesachim. The Tzadikim base, the Gemara Pesachim. The Halchis look at Yitzchak. We're not going to get into the whole sugi over here, but the Omar, Yitzchak says that what, and you already mentioned there were different opinions of Chazal, which we touched upon, right? Different opinions why they were talking. But Rabbi Yitzchak says the Omar Tmei Meis Mitzvah Hayu. They were Tmei Meis Mitzvah. According to this opinion, Tmei Meis Mitzvah. They took out Nadav and Avihu. And if you work the calendar back, what you're going to find is Shachol Shvi'i Shalahen Lihyos Be'erev Pesach. The 7th day of their Tumah was on Erev Pesach. How many days of Tumah are there? 7. So when can they go to mikvah? Yeah, after that. So 1 second. So when can they get rid of their problem? What's their problem? The problem is their tummy, right? That's why they can't bring the Korban Pesach. When can they get rid of this problem?
After Pesach.
No,
The next day.
the next day.
Oh, the next.
The next day.
Night and they get
Correct.
in the morning.
Correct. Shenamar v'lo yochlu. Listen to this. Coming back. V'lo yochlu. Now, how does the Gemara know that they could that the 7th day? That the 7th day of their tumah was erev Pesach, which is the day we bring the Korban Pesach. Says the Gemara. Look in the pasuk. We had the pasuk before. V'lo yochlu lazos Pesach. They couldn't do the Korban Pesach. When could they not do it? Bayamahu, on that day. Well, duh. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about Yud Daled Nisan Erev. They couldn't, says the Torah, they couldn't bring the Korban Pesach on that day, implying that they could the next day. Yeah, Geshmak. Bayamahu, the Im Yuchel Lasos, they couldn't do it on that day. But, says the Gemara, Avalamochar, Yuchel Lasos. No problem. They could do it the next day, tomorrow. AKA first day of Pesach. They could bring the Korban Pesach, they go to mikveh, they dunk, no problem, they're not tummy anymore. Now bring your Korban Pesach. But V'amar Rachmana, says the Eibishter, the merciful one, Nidchu. Not going to push it off. A full month. Okay, so they get the chance for Tashlumin, right? They get to, like Yaakov was mentioning before, you're going to have Tashlumin. They get the chance to make it up. So a month later. So they're waiting the whole time. They're waiting. Why can't you just bring it the next day? What's the big deal? And Bechlal, why are they? Shalom doesn't like when I say they're being punished, but what are they being punished for? Mitzvah goyreres. It's supposed to be mitzvah goyreres mitzvah. One mitzvah schleps along and brings another mitzvah in its wake. But here we're saying mitzvah geireres, sorry, we're leaving you out. Go away. You cannot participate in everything that Klal Yisrael is doing. No korban bezach for you. No participate. What's going on over here? Okay. Now, since we've mentioned numerous times recently, Behashgacha Pratis, Yonis and Ben Uziel, the great Tana, he was one of the 80 Tanoim who studied under Hillel Hazokin, Hillel the Elder. He was one of the greatest of the Tanoim who studied under Hillel. And his yard, he is buried in Amuka, which I mentioned to a few people recently. It just kept coming up. He's buried in Amuka near Tzvas. If you are anywhere in the Galil, anywhere in northern Israel, or southern Israel, or anywhere you are near, it's worth making your way to Amuka. Trust me, and you'll thank me later. His yahrzeit, by the way, is Chav Vav Sivan, which is coming up very soon. Apparently, people go Rosh Chodesh to Amuka and Chav Vav Sivan and every other day too. So look what he says. His Targum, his translated into Aramaic, also different than the translation of Ukwas, and it's very long. So I didn't even quote the whole thing because I want to point out two things. Second and third word, Pischa de Nisan. There's the Korban Pesach of Nisan. Now go to the next line, in the middle of the line, Upischa de Iyar. There's the Pesach of Nisan, and there's the Pesach of Iyar. So there's two Pesachs. I thought it was interesting how he calls it that way. The Pesach of Nisan and the Pesach of Iyar. Now we're going to learn some chassidus. Now I'm going to learn some chassidus from the Tzemach Tzedek, the third Rebbe of Lubavitch, and he explains Pesach Sheni as follows. And let's see, it was a little bit hard to figure out where exactly to start and stop over here. He's talking about Pesach Sheni. There's a simcha the person has in Hashem through fulfilling Torah mitzvahs. Actually, Yafid Mekodim Benafshich Halos Tumas Hara Gomer Jenika Gim Klubas Atameos. Once he gets separated, he gets removed. He extracts the tuma, the impurity that he may have within himself, Lagamri entirely. The Hainuliya Surmeira Gomer B'Poel Mamish. The person has to totally turn away from evil. That is the avodah a person has to do. Turn away from evil. You can't do tshuva really if you don't get the garbage out first. You got to turn away from evil. And that is the exodus from Egypt. So Pesach Rishon, or as the Targum Yonis ben Uzil calls it, Pischa de Nisan, that is Surmeira, getting rid of the evil. The Jewish people, we ran away from Egypt, right? It was so powerful. We had a man from Alter Rebbe spoke about it. The Ra was so powerful, had such a pull on us. We had the Mamish Ki Barach on the pasuk because we had to run away. That's the first Pesach. So first step is you got to do Surmeira. That's what comes along Pesach Sheni. The Chodesh Hasheni, the Torah doesn't call it Iyar, right? We know it's Iyar, but it calls it Chodesh Hasheni, indicating that there's a Sheni, there's a second Pesach, there's a second level in Avodas Hashem. There has to be a second stage after we leave Egypt. Dahainu. After one has already turned away from evil entirely and completely, then you come to a new level. We're not going to get into that discussion. So what's the point? So what do we have? What's the point? Says the Tzemach Tzedek. The second month, which is Iyar, it's not just second chronologically, it's second in inyan, it's second in concept, it's second in stage of my avodah. So the first stage of my avodah is Nisan. What do I do in Nisan? I run away from the bad stuff. Once I've done that, I can come to the second month, which is the second stage. Then he says, let's say, So, and what do we have in ER? We have the avodah of Sfiras Ha'omer, the mitzvah Sfiras Ha'omer every day, which is the concept of ishapcha, transformation. V'ikir Sfiras Ha'omer who kol chodesh ER, u'bepesach ha'iskafia. However, Pesach is different. Pesach is the language he uses called iskafia, which I translated here in the chart as subjugation. It's like wrestling your opponent to the mat and holding him down. He's still there and he's still going to struggle to try to get out, but you're strong, you're going to hold him down. That's like Pesach. Get away from the bat. Just wrestle him down, subdue it, subjugate it. You still got the bad midos, but at least you're in control of that. So you see in my chart, I wrote the month of Nisan is the holiday of Pesach. The avodah of that is subjugation, also known as iskafia, or we could call it surmeira. Just turn away from evil. I'm still not a refined individual. I still have all my problems. It's just that I'm managing them. Go to the next level on the chart. ER, which is the second one, is Pesach Sheni. That's not about subjugation. It's about transformation. What do we do in ER? Sfiras Ha'omer. What is Sfiras Ha'omer? It's about taking my midos and working on them, transforming them, smoothing them. So that's what he calls ishapcha, which means transformation, or asay toiv, to do good. So it comes out from the Tzemach Tzedek that what is the difference between Pesach and Pesach Sheni? Pesach is stage 1. Turn away from evil. Pesach Sheni is stage 2. Do good. Or said in different words, Pesach is to subjugate evil. Pesach Sheni is to transform the evil. Pesach Sheni is like b'shnei tzarecha. What's b'cholavavcha? The two bases, right? B'shnei tzarecha, with both yitzers. Means by yitzer toiv serves Hashem, and I've transformed my yitzer hara, he also serves Hashem. That's Pesach Sheni. 1 second. But Pesach, the first Pesach, my yitzer hara is not serving Hashem. He wants to do whatever he wants to do. I have not yet transformed it. That's stage 1. Stage 2 is transform. Yeah, Mike, you have a comment or a question?
Yeah, so basically it sounds like Pesach and Pesach Sheni are connected, but in reality, you're only following one, you're only celebrating one of the two. Like if you missed one, you do the other one. So
very good. So this vort of the Tzemach Tzedek is very nice, but it doesn't seem to fit with the reality. Doesn't fit with halacha. I should say, doesn't seem to fit with halacha. It doesn't fit with the reality. It doesn't fit with the psukim and chumash. You don't do both. You do one. You don't pick. Ideally, you should do Pesach. If you don't do Pesach, whatever reason, you do Pesach Sheni. If you did Pesach Rishon, do you get to do Pesach Sheni also? Because you're lonely? No, you don't get to do it. And if you do Pesach Sheni, it's a proof you didn't do Pesach Rishon.
And then you missed the Sumeira, which is supposed to come first.
Oh, Givaldik. So then according to Tzemach Tzedek, you missed part 1 of your Avodah. You didn't do Sumeira. So the Tzemach Tzedek is a nice idea. 2 stages, 2 different parts of Avodah, Sumeira, Seitoim. But how does it shtim? How does it fit with the reality? How does it fit with halacha? You hear the question?
can I ask
You
a
asked the
question?
question. Please.
Also, it would sound like Pesach Sheni here is more chashuv because Pesach, the regular Pesach, is just subjugation. But then the second Pesach is actual transformation. So
Oh, Givaldik.
again, really, it's the first.
That's
Pesach.
of course the higher level, seemingly.
Yeah, but it's
Oh,
better.
okay. Yeah. Okay, Gishmak. That's right. Gishmak. Okay, good. Good. So you hear the tension? There's tension between Chassidus and halacha. But really, there shouldn't be. How could there be tension between something that Tzemach Tzedek, by the way, himself, I don't think he needs us to talk about how great he was. He wrote Chidushim and Shas, Piskei Dinim, he was a huge posek, he was mamish and true. So he's going to say something, even, okay, it's not halacha, it's not a halachic statement, but he's going to say anything that's the opposite of halacha? I mean, he's not telling you to do anything wrong, God forbid, but it doesn't make sense. This whole idea of Chassidus, that Nisan is Pesach is stage 1, and ER Pesach Sheni is stage 2. Nice, it's a nice word, but like you pointed out, it's one or the other. You don't get to do both.
Well, unless what he's saying is it's a mindset. So the mindset, there is the Pesach and there is the Pesach Sheni. in Iyar, the action of carbon specifically is one or the other, but the
Oh.
mindset could be.
I'm very, very glad you said that because that's exactly the Nakuda we're going to get to. Sholem pointed out an important thing. The person who missed Pesach, did he really miss Pesach? And the answer, of course, is no. He missed the Korban Pesach. There are other parts to Yontif. Hello.
But those are the three main components.
No, which is what?
Bringing the sacrifice.
Good. Korban Pesach. Is that the only thing that we do on Pesach?
Matzah maror.
We eat matzah,
Yeah,
we eat maror,
but all
we
these
don't
three
eat
are
chametz.
connected together.
Good, connected, good.
Right.
But let's say a person, not you, a person didn't bring Korban Pesach. And they come to the rabbi and say, Rabbi, I messed up. I didn't bring the Korban Pesach. I was touching dead corpses all day, and therefore I didn't bring the Korban Pesach. Do I have to eat matzah at the Seder tonight? You're the rabbi. How do you paskin?
Of course.
Of course. But can't they just have a nice bread sandwich tomorrow? I mean, I missed Pesach anyway, so what's the difference if I have a nice piece of bread, right? How do you paskin?
Bread one.
Can you have bread on Pesach?
No, of course.
Chas v'sholem.
Right.
So Shalom is right. He didn't miss Pesach. He missed the Korban Pesach, which is going to become an important distinction. Let's take a look. In source number 7, this is Likutei Sichos, a Sicha from the Rebbe. Ha'amur le'el she'kol ha'inyan da Pesach sheni hu davke kesholei kodem le'Pesach Rishon. This that we're saying, that Pesach Sheni only appears when you didn't have Pesach Rishon first, is, like Shalom said, Harei ze rak benogea lekorban Pesach. She'im lo hikriv berishon, makriv b'sheni. That if you didn't bring the Korban Pesach, so bring it a month later. V'im hikriv berishon, and furthermore, if you did bring the Korban Pesach, then also lo lahakriv b'sheni, then you're not allowed to bring on Pesach Sheni. But is that the entire Yom Tiv? No. How much money did you spend on matzah this year? Don't answer that question. How many cups of wine did you drink? Don't answer that question either. It's a mitzvah. It seems that the shita of the Alter Rebbe is that it's a doraisa to have wine on Yom Tov. It seems that's the shita. But anyway. But obviously, just because the person missed the Korban Pesach, that has nothing whatsoever to do with the other inyanim of Pesach. Like the prohibition of chometz and the mitzvah to eat matzah. Meaning, Korban Pesach even if you didn't do Korban Pesach, legitimately, because you were Tameh, and the Torah says, if you're Tameh, don't do it. Meaning, so I followed halacha, but that doesn't pater you. That doesn't exempt you from eating matzah and staying away from chametz. Yeah, does that make sense so far? That's where we're holding. Continuing page number 3, source 8, continuation of the Sikh on the Rebbe. So now we can come back to the Tzemach Tzedek. Pesach Sheni is the second level. That the Tzemach Tzedek explained that Pesach Sheni is the second level. Again, implying you do both, which we know the reality is you don't do both. But he says you do. I know. What this means is Pesach Sheni. To reach Pesach Sheni, it must be preceded by Pesach Rishon. It must be preceded by the first Pesach, with the carbon or without the carbon. Pesach Rishon must come first, which means the spiritual service of Pesach, which is Surmei Ra, Kafiyos Hara, subjugating the Ram, is Kashura B'Kiyam Sha'orin Yonei HaMitzvah Chag. So the whole idea, the spiritual stage that must come first of Surmei Ra, it doesn't have to be connected to the carbon. It's connected to the other things. Isurei Chametz, V'chiyu B'Chvilas Matzah, which is Lachem Oini, the poor man's bread. And since even if I Chas V'Shalom, if I didn't bring the Korban Pesach, I'm still doing everything else, right? Again, you're the rabbi. What are you passing? Do you have to eat matzah? Yes. Can I eat chametz? No. So you're still mechuyev in Pesach. You're still doing the avoid of Pesach of Someira. Nimtza comes out from there. So Pesach Sheni, who etzlo yadar gashliya, that even by the guy who did not bring the korban Pesach, he still had Pesach. And therefore he had the first level. And therefore for him, Pesach Sheni is taka the second level. Because he had Pesach. What's Pesach? Eat matzah, don't eat chametz. Sur meirah, stay away from evil. He did that, didn't bring a korban Pesach, good. Now you move to the second level of Pesach Sheni and you get the second level. He reaches the second level of Ishapcha.
So in today's day, if you're doing Passover, you forgot, or you didn't mention, this is still considered the mitzvah?
You forgot what?
Pesach, or let's say just
Afikomen. The Afikomen takes place of the.
sometimes the afikomen.
We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. Okay. So the person who missed the korban Pesach didn't miss the first level. He had the first level of Surmeirah, which is all the other mitzvahs of Pesach, and then he progressed in ER to the second level, which is the avoid of Ishapcha, the avoid of transformation, the avoid of Asay Toiv, by bringing the korban Pesach Sheni. So, however, that being said, the person who missed out Pesach Rishon, does he get the first level of avodah Surmeirah?
Yeah.
Yes, he eats matzah and doesn't eat chametz. And then what does he do? He gets to ascend to the second level. He gets to bring the korban on Pesach Sheni. So he has level 1, Surmeirah, and he gets level 2, Asay Toiv, Givaldik.
What about the person that didn't?
What about the person that did the right thing? What about the person that wasn't tamei? What about the person that did everything exactly, crossed all the T's and dotted the I's, and he brought the korban Pesach when he was supposed to? What do we say to him? Shkoyach, you did the first level, but you are not allowed to bring the Pesach Sheni korban. You don't get the second level.
Well, he could still eat matzah, he could still do Sipur, he sees Mitzrayim.
On Yud Daled Iyar, Sipur Yitzis Mitzrayim.
He can, it's a Shema. No, I mean, I'm not joking.
Well,
there are ways to still give him. We have matzah, right? We have matzah.
There's taka minute, matzah, taka brought down. Taka brought down.
So by the first level, even if you lose the korban Pesach, you could still do other things. So by the second level, even if you cannot do the korban Pesach, you can still do other things.
Okay, it's interesting. And let's hold that thought. So the person who did bring the korban Pesach is not allowed to bring the korban Pesach Sheni. So how does he get to the second level? So Shalom is suggesting he'll do other things on Pesach Sheni.
He could meditate about being at the
Meditate.
second level.
Meditate, yeah, meditate about it. Meditate about it. Meditate is good. However, the answer is as follows. If I could try to explain a bit. As I mentioned before, the person is missing only the korban part. What is a korban? What is a korban? Look at the Sefer HaBohir, source number 9. Sefer HaBohir, how do you translate Sefer HaBohir? I mean the title. I don't mean the words on the inside. I mean, how do you translate Sefer HaBohir? The book of brilliance. Not brilliance as in smart. Brilliance is like shining. I don't know. Whatever. Sefer HaBohir, either it's anonymous, I think the Mukubolim. I mean, here's my show and tell for today. Here's my Sefer HaBohir right here, which of course has the notes of Reuven Margolius, because he has notes on everything. And on the title page here, where did it go? This is 2 in 1 volume. This is Tikkun Zohar and Sefer HaBohir in 1 volume. I can't. Oh, here, Sefer HaBohir, Hanikra Midrasha Shel Reb Nechunya ben Akonim. So he is attributed as the author. And it has 3 perushim in this volume, 3 commentaries in this volume. One is called Oir HaGonus, which is attributed to one of the students of the Rashba. Doesn't say which one. Another commentary on the Sefer HaBohir is Evan Yikara, the precious stone, precious gem, which is written by Reb Mordechai Yaffe, who we've spoken about before. He's best known as the Baal Levush. That's right, the Levush. a great halachic work we've discussed numerous times. Wild, right?
Yeah.
The greatest Baalei Halacha often also wrote books of Kabbalah. And the third commentary it is just called Hagois, which means glosses or notes by Rabbeinu Eliyahu Mivilna, also known as the Vilna Goy. That's what commentaries are on here, and it's all put together by Reuben Margolius. How did he do what he did? I don't know. So it has, seems to be different versions of the Sefer HaBoyer, so it was a little hard to find this piece over here. Like here, copied on the source sheet is section Mem Vav, section 46. But if you look in section Mem Vav in this Sefer HaBoyer, it's not there. But I found it in section Kuf Tes.
So you read the whole Sefer HaBoyer?
I already knew it off by heart, but I don't like to brag. So it says, and it's a little hard to read because the Oitzer HaChachma that I copied here on the source sheet, as you can see, apparently an older copy out of there is much easier to read, but you can kind of read it. Second word, why do we call a korban? Which we know we always translate in English as a sacrifice, but it doesn't really mean sacrifice, right? Ella, the reason why we call it a korban is we bring close our koichos to Hashem. So a korban is all about coming close. It's about connecting and coming close. So if I am a good boy and I was in the right place at the right time and I brought the korban pesach on Yodalad Nisan exactly the way I'm supposed to, I don't need another korban. I don't need to come close again, so to speak. I don't need that connection. I already did it. So and that korban now that I brought, Pesach Rishon, gives me the koyach to continue in my avodah. What comes next? The next day, bring in the oimer or whatever. Shortly thereafter, the oimer. Right? What did I miss over here? Something. Oh, there was a footnote here I wanted to mention. Yeah, this allows you to continue in your avodah. Okay, I don't know where I was trying to find. Either way. So once I have that first step, it gives me koyach to continue and do whatever else I need to do. Sirsa Einir, Matan Torah, etc., etc., etc. So once Pesach Sheni comes, maybe like Shalom Nebi, what Solomon says is exactly the point. What am I going to do on Pesach Sheni? I'll eat a piece of matzah. Maybe I'll, by the way, can you have chametz on Pesach Sheni?
Yeah.
Sure, go back to the chart, by the way, that I made. If you like the chart, even if you don't like the chart. Can I have chametz on the first Pesach? Of course not. Why? Because I'm still connected to the Ra. Comes Pesach Sheni, I'm already doing the avoid of Sirus Oimer. I'm transforming my midos. So sure, I can have chametz, no problem. Because I'm shaykh to that sense of inflation, if you will, of haughtiness, of ego in a kedusha way.
Why doesn't it say as an answer potentially that just because you can't bring the korban, you can do tefillah? Like now we do tefillah, right?
Yeah,
As opposed to bringing korbanos.
that's now.
Right, but so Sefer Bahir. No, but why? That's after the base of English was spread. There's no korbanos. Like, why didn't he say? Like, why does it have to be where the response is it's not necessary? Why couldn't the response be, yeah, it's necessary. You can't bring a korban, so you daven.
But if you had to bring the korban, but you're not required to, you already did.
But you know what I'm saying?
But then why would you daven? That's like, if it's supposed to be taking its place, the davening, but you're not required to bring the korban, then you wouldn't be required to dive. Like, you already did the first one. You need the second. I mean, you wouldn't need something to take its place in the second one.
That's right.
Yeah.
I think that's the point. So let's look at source number 10 to continue. But Hakrovas Pesach Rishon, when you do the korban Pesach in the right time, in the right place, oh yeah, here's what I was looking for. That the continue, that bringing the korban Pesach at the correct time gives you the koyach, the strength, the ability, the potential to continue your avodah, which is Sfiras Omer, Shizman and Maskil take of Mimochas HaPesach, which begins right after. And you're going to now reach the level of Pesach Sheni, which is his hapcha, which is transformation, which is a seitoiv. And therefore, there's certainly no contradiction between what the Tzemach Tzedek said in Chassidus and Halacha. Of course, there's no contradiction. There cannot possibly be a contradiction. Instead of ben bira tzemach tzedek shel Pesach Sheni in yoni adarga shniya b'avodas Hashem, v'in yoni shel Pesach Sheni shebol l'sakin l'hashim l'sachison the Pesach Rishon. The Pesach Sheni is coming to fix the hole, fix the pothole. But so we're saying it's like two stages. No problem, he said. Ki avodas shel Pesach Sheni darga shniya is hapcha is tuluya b'akrovas korban Pesach. Right, the guy on Pesach Sheni needs to bring the korban. Why? Because he didn't have a carbon yet. He didn't have the kiruv that Sefer Abar mentions. He didn't have that closeness and that connection that everyone else had. So everyone else who brought the korban Pesach Rishon doesn't need to bring it again because they have that closeness, and that closeness gives them koyah to continue their avodah the next day and the day after that.
How does the second person get koah?
Oh, so the guy who did not bring the korban Pesach at the right time must bring the korban on Pesach Sheni.
In the meantime, they still have to do
Yeah.
and all that.
Okay, in the meantime, it's a shtickle problem. But the reason why it's not the next day, which we asked in the Orach Chaim asks, right? The Orach Chaim? Yeah. is because you have to get to the second month, because the second month is not just a date on the calendar, the second month is a stage of avodah. And that second stage, the stage of Asay Toiv, the stage of Ishap, the transformation, only comes after the first Pesach, which everybody got the first Pesach. The only question is, did you also get the carbon on the first Pesach?
So then why wouldn't Pesach Sheni be Aleph here? Why does it have to be Yudalad?
That's a fair question, and it's not on the source sheet, but the answer might be because when you're sitting there, and if you have like the Kabbalah and Sfir Saimer, Chesed Shebechesed and Gvur Shebechesed and all these things. So which, I'm not testing you, but which Svira do we say for Pesach Sheni? So it's Chesed Shebehoid. Did I get that right?
Sounds right.
You seem like
Yud Aleph is
Sounds good.
Sounds good.
Chesed Shebehoid. On Lag BaOmer, we come to Hoid Shebehoid. According to Kabbalah, Hoid, the Sphira of Hoid, which is one of the Midos, is really the conclusion of the Iker of the Midos. So once we've reached not even Hoid Shebehoid, but even Chesed Shebehoid, the beginning of the week of refining the Sphira of Hoid, I'm done. Don't come in, I'm not done, but I'm done. Meaning the Iker Sphira Sa'imr has already been completed.
So the
Which-
Rebbe, right? He says
Reminds me.
that. One of my members of the Rebbe. he
It's
says
not
that
Bubby talks about this.
I don't know if
We didn't
Rebbe
get there
mentioned it, also mentioned it last. And once you reach a
That we
certain
spoke
point,
about?
yeah, we learned it, I think, last year. Once you reach a certain point, you're done. Not, you don't have to stop counting, but
Right.
you've done all the work.
Which is one of the reasons that, according to Kabbalah, according to Primus HaTorah, why of the opinion that says that the morning stops at Lag BaOmer. Lag BaOmer is Hoid Shebehoid. And then after that, you don't need to, there's no morning. You finished already. Okay. Anyway, that's why it wouldn't be Rosh Chodesh year.
I think it's like deja vu from last week, but very
Stage all over again.
another Klotz Kasha. Like, what if the Jews didn't ask Hashem? This seems like it's
Yeah.
it's an integral system.
Yeah.
But really, the Pashup shot is that the Jews asked Hashem, "Why should we lose out?" And then, in other words, what if they didn't?
Yeah, it's a taka deja vu all over again.
Yeah, it's pretty much the same question in another scenario.
Same question. This is the Chiddush, right? It's taka the Chiddush. I think.
It's like a plan that wasn't the plan. It's like Plan B, but it seems like
It's a plan that wasn't the plan. That's right.
God responded to us, but yet it seems like when someone said like it was like mamish.
Where is it?
It's a plan.
Oh, running out of
Because
time
we-
again. How come I'm always?
We asked Hashem to do a mitzvah, and so Hashem responded.
Yeah.
Positively.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it seems like this was like there's two stages.
Like a big
Well, they asked him to,
It
they have to
sounds like
do
it's
it
like a big
right away, not to do it a month.
But we know it's a lot of
And this
Right, they wanted to do it right away.
Right,
We saw, that's right.
Right,
That's right.
yeah.
They didn't say, well, can I do this, just tell me a day, and it's fine.
That's right.
That's right. Okay, let's, in order to try to finish, hopefully on time. Saved by the bell. We're gonna have to push your question to later. But
I mean, this answers why not the next day, why a month later, but it
Correct.
doesn't answer why Bechlal.
why Bichlal?
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll have deja vu again, and maybe what I said last week is the answer. Maybe it's not the answer. We'll have to revisit that.
It
Anyway,
doesn't say it in the Sikha, doesn't mean.
not explicitly. Let's take a look on the last page here. Now we'll skip the bracket, but what he says in the first paragraph, basically, in the bracket, the first paragraph, is let's think about the meaning of Pesach Sheni today. Let's think about it like this. Let's say a person is born between Pesach and Pesach Sheni. Like my son Shmuel, born Beis Iyar. So when Pesach Rishon came along, did he have to do Pesach Rishon? No, there was Takapoter. Takapoter is totally exempt from it. Or what if a person converts between Pesach and Pesach Sheni? So do they do Pesach Sheni? On the one hand, as far as why should they?
They were never required for the first.
Yeah, it's only if you miss the first. What if I didn't miss the first? I wasn't born.
Also sphere, parenthetically.
Right. Same question. Good. Oh, not the same question, but related. Yeah. Right. So the halacha is that Pesach Sheni is considered its own yontif, and you're mechuyev in Pesach Sheni. You're obligated, even if you weren't even born Pesach Rishon, whether you weren't born biologically or you weren't born Jewishly. Either way, if you weren't mechuyev the first Pesach, you are, according to halacha, obligated in Pesach Sheni.
Carbon.
Well, the whole thing really.
But including giving the carbon?
Let's take a look now. Second paragraph. V'lochi. Bizman hazeh ubefrat b'chul she'ein lanu korban pesach. Nowadays we don't have a korban pesach. Shul lo shaykh lichura calling the pesach sheni. So if we don't have a korban pesach, one might think that the korban pesach, this pesach sheni, is meaningless because I didn't miss korban. I didn't miss the, like, let's say Mashiach comes, God willing, today. What do I have to bring pesach sheni for? I wasn't mechuyev in pesach rishon when it happened. It doesn't exist. So why should I celebrate Pesach Sheni nowadays? Whether it's by eating matzah or by not saying takunun, why am I marking Pesach Sheni at all? Skip the next paragraph to the second column, third paragraph. However, the explanation is like this: this that we celebrate Pesach Sheni today, it's not. The celebration that we mark today of Pesach Sheni is not related to an actual possibility of bringing the Pesach Sheni. I mean, it doesn't mean that I have to actually be able to potentially bring Pesach Sheni. Rather, kiim, it's a zecher le Pesach Sheni shahoy b'zman hamikdash. It's a zecher, it's a remembrance of the original Pesach Sheni. Okay, so. And furthermore, who has to do Pesach Sheni? Whoever missed the first one. It's only a few people. But here nowadays, everybody skips Tachanun.
Because we all missed the first Pesach. We don't do the first.
Well, we didn't miss it. We didn't miss it because it wasn't mechuyev in it. So it must be the Pesach Sheni, even though on the surface it's only for people who missed the first one. But if you convert in between, if you're born in between, or if there is no korban pesach at all because there's no Beis Hamikdash, you're still mechuyev in the korban pesach sheni, because it must be there's something that relates to every single Jew by pesach sheni. So as we explained before in the Tzemach Tzedek, what is the avoid of pesach sheni, which is hapcha transformation, asay toiv. Move and ha'inyan b'pashtus. Shaharei b'yoyim zeh yesh b'koicha shel kol adam misol la'agil l'madrega shniya shel b'avodas Hashem. Pesach Sheni, and if I may suggest, this week now we're reading Parshas Behaalosecha. When we're reading about Pesach Sheni, and we're living with the Parsha, we're living with the inyanim in the Parsha. So we're living with Pesach Sheni this week, even though it's not Pesach Sheni. But this is a Pesach Sheni on Pesach Sheni. It's a deja vu all over again. Right? That's why I chose the title. Each and every one of us has the ability we can reach the second level in Avodas Hashem. How this happen of transformation, of becoming a new person, of totally turning over my midos and transforming.
Koloimer, that is to say, Gam Eloshi Krivu Pesach Rishon. Even those who did bring the Pesach Rishon, Shlemes Pulas Akrava Zushi Avida Dishabcha Ba'a B'Chedesh Hasheni. In a sense, they're missing something, even if they brought the Korban Pesach. There's a shlemus to it that only comes a month later in the Chodesh Hasheni, in the second month, in the second level. And therefore, Balochin Gambas Manazeh, therefore, even nowadays, Sheyeshno Avodah Haruchnis Shebekorban Pesach, where we nowadays have really only, we don't have the physical Korban Pesach, but we have the spiritual Avodah of the Korban, which is, like the Sefer Rabbi here said, coming close to Hashem, bringing my animal on the Mizbech, offering my animal soul, my animalistic tendencies and midos, offering those to Hashem to transform them. So since we can do the spiritual avodah of Korban Pesach nowadays, therefore, therefore we celebrate Pesach Sheni as well today because it is relevant. Because it's the sign, it's the indication, it's the koyach for each and every one of us to reach a higher level in Avodas Hashem, to reach the Chodesh Hashem. So, I didn't write a good conclusion, but certainly the interpretation in Chassidus of the Tzemach Tzedek fits just fine with halacha. Obviously, first of all, everyone needs both Pesachs. Even the guy who did Pesach needs Pesach Sheni also. He just doesn't bring a korban, but he has to also ascend to the higher level. You can't stop and say, "Well, I brought the korban. I did what I need to do. I didn't eat chametz on Pesach. I ate matzah. Okay, good. Shkoyach. That's step one. That's running away from the tumah of Mitzrayim. Good. So you got out of Mitzrayim. You got away from the tumah. Good. Baruch Hashem. No. Now what? Now. How are you going to rise? How are you going to rise to a higher level? How are you going to? You think it's enough to continue to wrestle the Yetzer Hara? Don't sin. Just don't sin. That's serving Hashem. What about the Chodesh Hashem? What about the transformation? What about trying to reach a level where the sins I may have once done are out of the question because I transformed them. I rose to a higher level, and that's what Pesach Sheni gives me the chance to do: is to rise to a level where I was holding when I left. When I left Egypt, I had to run from Egypt. Yeah, now I've transformed it. So, like I said, I don't have a fancy conclusion, but we could hit a home run, and then we could hit another home run right after that. We could do back-to-back home runs. We have Pesach Sheni after Pesach Sheni, even now this month, this week of Parshas Behaalosecha. We got a Pesach Sheni again. And we have to know that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives us the opportunity, gives us the ability, even though we unfortunately didn't bring a Korban Pesach this year. The Sheikh wasn't here. But we still have the avoid of the korban. The avoid of the korban, Sefer HaBoyer is coming close to Hashem, bringing my nefesh Bahamas, my animal soul to Hashem. Good. And once you've done that, now turn it over. Transform the whole thing. Rise to try to live a life where we actually demand from ourselves to become a little more edel, a little more refined. A little more, again, some transformation. And Pesach Sheni gives us the koyach to do that. Questions or comments?
If they don't bring the korban, right?
Well, Mashiach's going to come, and we already missed Pesach
So I'm
Sheni.
saying if, like, in other words, halachically, if we're bringing korbanos again, so that halachic question, if someone converts in the middle or a bar mitzvah, like your son, became bar mitzvah in the middle,
Yeah,
you would bring the korban?
correct. But Paskin
That you would.
That's correct. Because why? Because even though you didn't,
It's connected to it. Anyway.
Right. You could do both levels of avodah.
He's bringing the korban, not the makeup. He's bringing the korban as a sheni.
Oh,
is that a good way of phrasing
I
it?
think so. Yeah, and I think that's what we had the. He brought on fourth page, source 11. I think it was over there that Pesach Sheni was established as its own holiday, a regular b'nei atzma. Where was that?
After
Let's
the
track
people,
my source sheets.
after the people asked.
In a sense, it's separate from Pesach. In a sense, and it's for everybody. It's even for those of us who did what I needed to do on Pesach. Pesach Sheni is also for me. The ability to reach the second level is also for me, even if I did the right thing, because it's its own independent. It has its own independent status in a sense. Okay, I think we are just past time. So thank you everyone for coming. And Lel Shishi, aka Mishmar, everyone's invited tomorrow, God willing. And there's a Kiddush on Shabbos Mitzvah Shem, sponsored by Menachem and Nava Lieblich. So everyone's invited to join. And thank you everyone for coming.
Thank you.